Oh, what's up everybody? I just finished filling up my PeckPerk feeder here in the middle of winter. And a lot of you tend to take your feeders down in the colder months. But I'm here to tell you why feeding birds in the winter is important and can actually help the birds. It's freezing cold today though, it's below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm going to head inside. Why don't you come with me and let's talk about it. Now I'm inside, nice and cozy. And I mentioned outside before we walked in why it's actually important and a good thing that you feed birds during the winter. Many people decide to take down their feeders in the winter, but this is actually probably the most important time to feed birds. During the winter, due to snow cover and colder temperatures, food is harder to come by. It's a lot more scarce. So when you provide them a food source, you can actually help some birds survive through the winter in some cases, especially vagrants that find themselves outside of their normal range. This won't necessarily replace their natural food source. Birds can find food throughout the winter, but it's more of a supplement to the birds. It provides them with valuable energy that they need for the warmer months and the breeding season. Again, you're not replacing what they would already eat. You're just adding to that and helping them to be more successful heading into the future. The winter is also an amazing time for vagrants. Birds that show up way outside their range oftentimes tend to show up during the winter months, and most of the time they're hungry. So having a feeder up can potentially give you some surprises during the winter months. Also, birds that are further up north, like evening grosbeaks for example, drop down in the winter months to also find food. So you get new birds visiting your feeder in certain areas than you would have normally during the warmer months. The nice thing about having the PeckPerk Smart Feeder is that you can capture all of these moments. So if a bird does show up, you're not going to miss it. Then you can go outside and wait for it to see it in person. So it's a really cool thing to have feeders with cameras these days. For many birds, breeding season follows the coldest months of the year. So providing them with this necessary food helps them to be more successful during the winter moving forward. Now, there are some tips that I have for responsible bird feeding. There are things like the flu that spread amongst birds, and it's very important that you pay attention to this. With the smart bird feeder like PeckPerk, you can actually identify and see birds who might be sick. They have like those bird pox, most of the time around their eyes and around their beak as well. Being able to see that and recognize that when there's a sick bird in the area allows you to go outside, take down your feeder, and clean it so that disease doesn't spread to other birds in your area. You should also be cleaning your feeders on a regular basis. You can't just leave them out indefinitely. Bird feeders can collect things like mold that can be detrimental to the birds. Seeds can spoil over longer periods of time. Again, disease can spread and birds poop all over their bird feeders. So it's very important that you clean your feeder regularly with soap and water. It's also important to know what seed you should use. Now there's many seed types out there, but for North America, I recommend using black oil sunflower seed. This allows the most variety of birds to come to your feeder and feed there. The seed also spoils a lot less quickly than other bird seeds. Unshelled seeds, cracked corn, peanuts, stuff like that can spoil very quickly. So it's important to have some of these shelled seeds available to the birds that can withstand longer time periods. So there you have it. Keeping your bird feeders up during the winter, in many cases, can actually help the birds. The winter season is actually the best season for feeding birds, as during the warmer months, birds have plenty of food sources to go about. It's also a fantastic time of year to identify birds that wouldn't normally be visiting your feeder, like vagrants and birds from further up north where it's colder. With a PeckPerk Smart Feeder, you'll be ready for these winter months, being able to identify new birds that are coming to your feeder, as well as birds that might be struggling that time of year, which can lead you to taking the action necessary to prevent things like the avian flu from spreading to other birds. PeckPerk has an awesome smart feeder that you've been seeing bird footage from throughout this video. It comes in two colors, orange and beige. I have the beige one and it has been so fun to have around the house. Birds come visit the feeder on a very regular basis and I can watch it live or check what birds visited at the end of the day by scrolling through the gallery. I even had an escaped ring-necked parakeet visit the feeder for a few months, and I never would have seen it without the feeder notifying me and being able to watch for it to see it in person. The feeder can notify you of new birds visiting and also has a really great app to go along with it. If you'd like to check out the feeders, head on over to peckperk.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more bird feeding tips, and don't forget to check out peckperk.com for any smart bird feeders you might be interested in. Let me know in the comments below, what's the coolest backyard bird you've seen during the winter months? Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you all next time.